Hello everyone. How's everyone doing? Okay, good. I was like making sure you're there. So this year's theme is in the form of a question. Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from?
So where am I from? I mean, that was a question, and I'm a Filipino. My roots are from the Philippines. I'm Filipino-Canadian. But that's not what I'm been asked. When I'm asked on the streets, it's not where are you from. It's which Tim Hortons do you work? You know. In the last few years, I think over 80% of low-skilled, quote-unquote, workers that you see at Tim Hortons and fast foods are Filipino migrant workers. Again, my name is Marco. I'm from an organization called Migrante. I'm struggling to think about what to talk about today, and you could probably feel that I'm nervous now. But there's a lot of things that I would love to share, particularly issues of racism and migration, especially in the last 3 years when there's an outright, in-your-face racist attacks against temporary foreign workers. When it changes, Ushali was talking about 2013. That was the time when there's actual racist attacks from stickers on the pickup trucks that says "fuck off." We're full, to post in our Facebook pages that says, can't you speak English? Don't you understand what temporary means? So those are become normal, quote unquote, to our community, particularly to the migrant workers. And this is during the economic downturn, as we know it. My adopted country, Canada, may be a land of immigrants, but it is not a country open to just any migrants or refugees. The waves of migration have responded to the economic, political, and ideological needs of capitalist system in Canada, which means relatively open when it needs to expand, but ruthless. It ensures cheap and disposable labor.
Being unable to access those services because you're concerned about the cost of them, or because of your immigration status, you're fearing deportation, all those kinds of things. I mean, that's just a dilemma that is really excruciating to imagine as a parent. Nobody should have to be faced with those kinds of choices.
We believe in with Videography that this is a direct violation of McKenna's human rights. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, Article 24, which states that every child should have a right to social services, for example, education, medical services.
I have been an activist and advocate for women because I don't know if because I don't have a mother figure in my life or because I don't have a sister in my life. So I've been always in the mood of kind of advocate for women.
Making our way to the stage, could we have a round of applause for our in-house DJ and sound technician, Piyush Patel.
It's a good reception. Thanks for all coming out and supporting your local artists. I must say the presentations so far have been amazing.
Invited here to talk about LACEN, the Latin American Community Engagement Network, and the work that we do. But more importantly, we're here to talk about March 21st and why it's so important to Lassen and to the work that I do in the community. Listing. If we're going to change the immigrant on immigrant racism that we're having right now, it first has to start with the Indigenous people. If we don't change that narrative, what's happening between all of us is never going to change.
Why are you saying I'll repent tomorrow? Why don't you know what will happen tonight? Be careful. He's nearby. Jesus Christ is nearby. Be careful. He's nearby. Reka wewe kwimbira y'ukuzihana buke kuko burya ntabumenya y'ukurya mukaramuka ni wihanu yu.
Is it the sound of their father's drum or the color of their mother's skin? Help me understand why we brought them to that place. That living hell so far away from their families and home. For no sins did they commit. We scooped them from their villages, believed we had the right. It wasn't a fair fight.
Where are we from? I'm from Africa, a country in Africa called Somalia. Where is Somalia located? I assume most of you might know where Somalia is, but for those of you who might not know, Somalia is a country in the Horn of Africa. The country has been struggling, having no strong central government for many years. Somali people are pastoralists and agriculturalists who usually depend on rains, on seasonal rains for their animals and crop production. There have been no rains for the past 4 consecutive years, and as a result, the nation that's already struggling with so much insecurity due to the presence of Al-Shabaab terrorist group is losing 80% of its animals. People are also dying due to hunger, thirst, and starvation. Somalia is experiencing its 3rd famine in 25 years. The previous famine in 2011 has killed more than 260,000 people in the country in the Horn of Africa. In the past week alone, 110 people have died due to starvation in 48 hours. Parents are faced with the agonizing choice of how to divide their shrinking food supply among their starving children. More than 6.2 million, half of Somalia's population, is in need of urgent humanitarian aid, and the country's newly elected government, which have been elected actually on February 8, 2017, has declared a national disaster. Their children, and they're dying instead of their children dying. Thank you very much.
So I was born in South America, in a country called Uruguay. And let's backtrack and go through a little bit of a timeline. About 18 where I was taking it up to mountain summits and getting summit photos. Next slide. That's the first person in the project is my father. This is after his cancer treatment. This is what started it. There's a monk here, if you guys know. I think he's still in Edmonton. This was this was a photo shoot I did for Avenue Magazine, and after the shoot, he was willing to pose for the project. Next slide.
He passed away.
Did he pass away?
Yeah.
Do you know how to pronounce it?
I confidently said I do not. Miskawaki Waska.
Miskwachi Waskahedi.
Miskwachi Waskahedi.
Was chicken? No, I don't know.
I'm an independent filmmaker, and I like to also mentor. I was in the education industry for a little while, so I love teaching. I love kind of being around youth, and I'm actually from Toronto, so it's really interesting coming to Edmonton. I've been here for about a year, and in Toronto I feel like my experience with Indigenous culture was very minimal. Like, I had very few Indigenous friends. I knew very little about any history in terms of what our government has gone through. Like, just the entire thing was very, I would say, I was very ignorant. And then being here in Edmonton, and just even after a month, it's very in your face. Like, you see the issues right there, So it's really it's kind of hard because growing up for so long without realizing that there are so many social problems, I felt as if I had to, being a Canadian, it needs to be part of the dialogue that, that I need to give back in some way, because it just doesn't feel right that I've had all the privileges of being Canadian, but and seeing that there is so many problems, so many issues that we still haven't, solved. It really bugs me.
I was born in Montreal, raised right here in Treaty 6 territory. My parents are Peruvian. My great-grandfather on my dad's side, born in China, left China for a better life, put roots down in Peru. My great-grandfather on my mom's side, Japanese, did the same thing, interred in detention, concentration camps during World War II. So I'm here because of racism, and I'm here also because of love. I was never taught to hate, so that gives me all the self-assurance I need to be comfortable in my own skin. So whoever you are, and wherever you come from, own it, be proud of who you are. I'd love to share my story with you. What you need to know about me, quien soy, je suis. I was born David E. in Montreal to Alberta, the long haul, two loving parents, my sister and her kids to back me. June, Lovera, Juan, Paris, Masaki, Yoa, Inca Tone, Ninja, Samurai Bones with Pele Color de Miel turned Latino. So now you know, from a long time ago, a galaxy far apart, so no one said it in Edmonton's heart. I got it slowed with the war of your soul. Forgive me, your daily sin, vegan, a strange alien, first generation Canadian, go on and hate. No, I know your mama told you there'd be days like these, but she never told you that there'd be a day like me. As for the verse you were part of, que no confío, me siento perdido, en esta bella ciudad con corazón frío. Adentro del centro mi gente los represento, ando gritando, me cansé de sentarme en silencio, ya no me quedo atracado en las dudas y miedos, pidiéndolo a and I'm hollering peace. If you see me in the streets, please put it to 2 V's. One for you, one for me.
Actually, I want to mention something quickly about Somalia. Something a lot of people don't know is that we were under a dictatorship for a while. But he did a lot of bad things, but he did a few good things. One of the good things he did was not many people could read and write. So something the government did is they forced all students outside of the school. They closed all the schools for 1 year, and they made everyone go into the rural communities and teach people how to read and write. So my dad, he was a part of that. So he was a teacher, and then he had to go in the military, so he was a soldier, and then he became an engineer. So most Somalis over 40, they were actually a teacher. So that's something interesting. Another interesting reaction I got too was from people who said, I can't believe this happens in Edmonton. Like we don't have that history of discrimination here. I was really surprised. Next slide. Oh, actually now when I bike with 2 cameras. So I can get everything, just in case. Next slide. I don't have much time to go over this, but this is all public. But I looked into our history in Alberta, and we heavily resisted black immigration. We do have a history of discrimination here. This is an article from 1911. It was printed in the Edmonton Journal, and it said, "We want no dark spots in Alberta." I'll let you read this at another time, but it's pretty interesting. Next slide. I also found out that Alberta legally recognized the KKK up until 2003.
So thank you everyone for coming to this is the 3rd year we're doing this. Thank you Shrina and Kushali who've been great as MCs. Thank you all for sticking around till the bitter end here. We went a little bit past time, but I mean, I definitely, like, for this type of platform, we learn something new all the time. So just quickly some thank you. So thank you to Bill, our sound tech. He was the one that like really pushed us to get this, we're all busy. A lot of us have full-time jobs. So I mean, sometimes it takes a push to make things happen.
Bali is a friend and a very talented musician. I have to start off by saying that. He literally owns every string and drum instrument, and he knows how to play them all. He's just one of those guys, he picks up an instrument and he's like, oh yeah, fiddles around with it, and then he's like, I got it, we're good. So he's very, very talented, so I'm very honored to present him.
So thank you. This video is still a work in progress. I literally put the music to the video just earlier this morning, and it's a music video at this point, but it initially was part of a larger film project called The Dream.
So when I was asked by Shireen to be part of this, that was last week, and I went, ooh, where do you come from, and do I have something that would fit this theme? Well, I come from Saskatchewan, but that's easy to say, and all of us, we come from Edmonton. And then I went, well, I do have a piece. It's a French piece that I wrote a while back, and it could be to people who are coming here, or it could be people who live on the north side of the city who are coming to the south side, or it could be somebody who doesn't understand my little world that I've created here in Edmonton, which is rooted in one leg in the French community and another one in the community at large, and a little bit in the Hispanic community. Habla un poco de español. Sighs, winds blow through my limbs. Should a wild and wily woodsman tame my bark, axe my trunk, and leave me to pine? Heartache and sorrow won't rock my roots. Snows of sorrow won't weigh me down. Guilt won't be my crown. I'll begin again. I'll shed my skin. I'll be a snake woman. Munch on an apple and forget about sin. Before you start unpacking your boxes, raise up your head. Laisse-toi baigner dans l'air ensoleillé. Let yourself be bathed and enchanted by the strokes of blue that frame my days. Pour m'apprivoiser, tends-moi l'oreille, avec une soif de qui et de pourquoi. Tame me by tending your ear, with a thirst for who and why and when. Je n'ai pas tes cicatrices ni tes grains de beauté, pas les mêmes flèches dans mon carquois. J'ai une parlure parsemée d'autres saveurs. I don't have your scars nor your beauty spots. I don't have the same arrows in my quiver. My speech is sprinkled with other flavors. Mais comme toi, like you, ma voix est enracinée dans le cœur de l'éternité. My voice, my path is rooted in the heart of eternity.